Before Atari conquered the console world with the Atari 2600 VCS and ignited a whole industry in the process, they released a series of standalone systems that started with Home Pong way back in 1975. These consoles just included one game with built-in controls and could be plugged into any normal TV set. Following Home Pong, they also released devices featuring versions of other popular Atari arcade games, such as Video Pinball, Stunt Cycle, and Ultra Pong Doubles. These had sold well for the Sunnyvale-based company, and they still felt that there was plenty of life left in this idea. This thought process had been proved further by the amount of Pong clones on the market that were still selling in their thousands. Most of these also offered several different game variations, a big plus over Atari's own official version, which got their engineers thinking even further. Surely they could do something bigger and better than that. Now you might be thinking that this is exactly what the 2600 was, but you have to remember that this console launched at $199, which is nearly $850 in today's money, making it far from affordable for many households. So Atari came up with something else a bit more low cost. I'm the Laird, and this is the story of the Atari Game Brain. Starting its development in 1976, the Game Brain was a simple console that would not just be affordable, but would also allow them to repurpose a lot of its existing inventory. Given the model number C700, the Game Brain would be capable of playing official versions of 10 different Atari titles, most of which had already been released as standalone units via plug-in cartridges. I say cartridges, but in actuality these were not really cartridges at all. They were in fact fully enclosed circuits that contained the entire game on them, with the actual console being nothing more than a near-empty shell to facilitate them. This housing would also feature built-in controls for 2 players, with traditional buttons and paddles available, as well as a tray to display cards showing the game instructions, a very unique idea indeed. So what became of the Game Brain then? Well, Atari decided that this cheaper console might end up taking sales away from the recently released Atari 2600, which had been in development at the same time, and put its release on hold. The limited capacity of the Game Brain also meant that it just couldn't be exploited in the same way as its more expensive sibling. Atari had already manufactured a small run of Game Brain consoles and cartridges, but sat on them until 1978, the year after the 2600's debut, when it was finally unveiled at that year's CES show. However, after those in attendance gave a negative reaction to the system, it was quietly cancelled not long after, and Atari disposed of all the existing stock. But some units were rescued and did make it out into the wild, with these examples fetching extremely high prices on eBay when sold. Atari co-founder Nolan Bushnell, who actually left the company shortly after the aforementioned expo, told us what his views on the project were. "I was very against Game Brain. In my opinion, it was a huge step back. I thought we should be looking at the next evolution of the Atari 2600 and continue to evolve our technology, but Warner management was only interested in how much money they could make." The Game Brain wasn't Atari's only attempt at producing a more cost-effective cousin to the 2600 either. Several years later, they also developed the Atari 2500, an all-in-one version of the 2600 with built-in controls and a cheap plastic case. This was obviously considered for some time, as several slightly different versions in different colours have been discovered. However, everyone interviewed who worked at Atari around this time seems to have no knowledge of it. I think it's fair to say that Atari made the right decision cancelling the Game Brain, as technology was moving fast, and it wasn't long before the 2600 started to come down in price and a multitude of lower cost rival systems arrived too, that no doubt would have eaten into any potential Game Brain sales. It's still an interesting curiosity in the history of Atari though, and one that I hope you've enjoyed finding out more about. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more just like it, then please consider visiting my Patreon and making a pledge. You'll even get access to a host of exclusive content there too. I've been the Retro Laird, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'll see you all again very soon.